So recently I watched the UFC.
Yeah.
It was the main, what was it? The pay-per-view. UFC 297. And for those of you who don't follow the UFC, it was a fight between two guys called Sean Strickland and Dricus Duplessis. And there was something, I want to get your opinion on something, but I'm going to share the story first. One, if I don't know if you've had it. Yeah, I don't know. I haven't explained it to you, so I don't know if you know the story or if you don't know the backstory to that fight.
I haven't researched the backstory of that fight.
I want to share it with everyone, and then I want your context on like an argument that I had with someone about this, and what it means or how you see it. Okay.
Oh, I think I know what you're about to say.
Do you?
Yeah, I think so. But keep going.
I'm going to keep going. Okay, so Sean Strickland, for those of you who don't know him, look him up. He's a good fighter. He's like a gun nut, like like a gun nut.
What's that? I've never heard of that before.
Like a guy who loves guns.
Oh, gun nut. Oh, sorry. I mean, I thought that was like a label. I don't know what it was.
Like a gun nut.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't even know what it was.
What do you think it was one word?
I don't know.
A gun, G-U-N, space,
is
nut.
pro guns.
Pro guns.
Yeah.
What's a pro gun?
Don't change the amendment.
Yeah. Yes. The second. Don't change the Second Amendment.
Which the definition of an amendment is, it's something that's been changed. You're amending it, so they've amended the Constitution. The Second Amendment. So they added that.
I never thought about that.
You're not allowed to change it.
Don't change the change.
It is a change. Anyway.
They're big on. They are big on leaving their guns for freedom. Yeah, the US.
Like,
so
that's. I think we touched on this one episode.
It's actually not a bad thing. Look, it's a bad. I think they should make it not as easy to buy a gun.
Yeah, but we can have guns here. My dad's got guns.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong with that at all.
No, my dad uses them recreationally to go hunting. And I've grown up around him my whole life because him and all his friends, they would often go samba hunting, which is deer. Very rarely catch deer, mind you. It was more...
We should go hunting.
Man, it'd be cool. When did you have a gun license?
Yeah, but it just expired.
Oh, really? Yeah. I've never applied for mine, but my old man wants me to get it.
Get it.
Yeah, I will one day. Just fucking list of things. Yeah, it's at the bottom. It's not really top priority.
So, Sean Strickland, pro gun guy, and he had a rough upbringing.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like a lot of trauma. And you've seen, if you've ever watched the UFC, you've seen in the press conference how they sort of have digs at each other. So there was a press conference where the other guy said to Sean Strickland and
Duplessis.
Yeah, this might trigger some people, but he said, just because your dad you when you were a child or something like that. That was a trigger warning. Just because your dad...
Is that what actually happened though?
Well, he says it didn't.
Oh, okay.
But I think he had a really tough upbringing. Like I think he maybe had been bashed by his dad or something like that, or child abuse or something. I don't know. He doesn't go into the details of the trauma, but that bothered him. And then he went on a podcast with Theo Von, and they were talking about it. And he starts to open up a little bit about his trauma. And you see, like if you ever see Sean Strickland, he's like a man's man. Yeah, let's go out, shoot an animal. Go do this and let's go box and like man's man, absolute man's man. And he completely breaks down on this podcast. And it's actually like you see it and it's, you can see that he's still impacted by the trauma.
Yeah.
Like he's not okay. And it's like you watch it and you can see it, it's everywhere. It's on YouTube. You can go Google it. He was on Theo Von's podcast. And you see the way he cries, and he's not crying like he's sad. He's crying like there is
anger.
Dude, I can't even explain. I've never seen anyone cry like that. I was like, whoa! Like I even watching it, man. I teared up. I was like you see that this guy has something unresolved, and he opens up about his trauma on the podcast a bit, and then he says, he's like, you shouldn't talk about people's family. You shouldn't talk about trauma. Like this, I get it. We're in a professional sport, We're going to talk shit to each other, but you shouldn't touch on, he's like, don't ever, like Colby Covington touched on Leon Edwards' dead dad. Like, he's like, you don't fucking do that. That guy's a piece of shit. And he's like, you don't talk about people's direct family.
McGregor does that too.
Yeah, McGregor did the same thing. You don't talk about people's family. You don't talk about trauma. You don't talk about kids. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that is off the cards. Anything else you want to talk smack, whatever. And he says that. And
do you agree with that? ultimately the guys are trying to put them off their game.
Let me.
Do you know what I mean? It's war.
Yeah.
Like if you're in war, like is all fair in love and war? Do you know what I mean? It's war. They're trying to get. They'll say some people just will say whatever they need to say to get you off your game, and maybe it works for him because he lost the fight.
Let me finish, because then there's something comes from this. So anyway, so he done this whole thing, and then after the podcast, he actually went and there's a key point I need to add. The last event of the UFC, they actually punched on in the crowd.
Oh, the two of them.
Yeah. So they were seated next to each other, and Sean Strickland turned around and saw him, and then he's like, "Move, kids." And the kids moved, and he jumps up and boom, and they punched on. It was a full punch on. He got kicked out, everything. So obviously he was in his head, right? And then after that podcast, he actually messaged him.
Strickland messaged Duplessis.
Yeah. Saying, "Hey, don't ever bring that up again." Do you know what I mean? He does say that his dad didn't him or whatever, but he says, "Don't ever bring that up again." You know what I mean? Don't ever talk about that shit again. And Duplessis, to his credit,
didn't
said,
say
"Okay, no worries." And just let it go. And then...
Because they were quite civil at the end of the fight, and even during the fight, like it didn't look like I hate you. I'm taking your soul. Like it didn't look like that during the fight.
Yeah. So then after that, they had the pre-fight UFC conference, and they shook hands and everything. They were not like there was no beef. Like it was kind of like we're going to go out, we're going to put a war on, blah blah blah. And there was like kind of like a mutual respect between them. And someone I know. We've got like a group convo with the boys, and one of the boys was saying that's wrong, and he lost respect for him. And I'm like, why? And he's like, you can't go and cry on a podcast and then come and say, you know, don't talk to me like that. Send him a message, say don't talk to me like that, and then they're normal with each other. Like that's wrong. Like he goes, I liked Strickland, now I've kind of lost respect for him. And then I was like, I don't agree with you.
Yeah.
In that sense. Like, I don't agree with you there. I don't feel like I've lost respect for him. I don't feel like... And then I thought, you might... Like, that attitude might be the problem with why... Like, why can't this guy open up?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And we've spoken about it before, and I've said to you, I've got no issue opening up to people. Me personally. And you said that, yes, it is harder for men to open up. And then I thought, is that the problem? Do you know what I mean? Like, is that the problem? The way he got judged
100%
for doing it. And I was like, dude, you're looking at this wrong. Like, and then I said, have you watched the podcast? And he's like, no, I just saw the scene where he cried. And I'm like, watch the whole fucking podcast, dude. Like, you want to get into this conversation, have some context. Yeah? And then I was questioning, like, okay, cool. Is that the problem? And where do you draw the line? Do you know what I mean? Like, at what point is it okay and what point is it not? Like, they're in the fight game. They're going to get into each other's heads. They're going to talk shit. We've seen many people do it. And hats off to the Dreykus, the South African dude. Like, as soon as he got the message, he never mentioned it again. And he was respectful and everything. And to me, that speaks highly to his character. Like, good on him. But Strickland still came out for and everything, and everyone's saying, like, yeah, of course, if you show him your weakness, of course he's going to get under your skin and you're going to lose. And I don't agree with that. And I'd like to know, I guess, what you think, and sort of see where this goes.
Yeah, I agree with what you're saying.
Yeah, like I was like, dude, it made no sense to me. I was like,
that's a very. You're effectively saying, so what? A man or men can't be emotional, can't be vulnerable.
That's effectively what he was saying.
Yeah, you shouldn't. You're a man. You can't do that. You're a little bitch.
Yeah, but he was saying, like, you're in the fight game and you're about to fight this guy. Like, you're about to go to war.
You get in the ring with him and see how much of a bitch he is.
That's right.
You know what I mean? Like, come on, man. If you're going to talk the talk, you want to be a fucking tough bloke, go in there. Step in the cage.
I'll message him now.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely you should. So, but you know what I mean? You're saying you're calling a guy who's probably one of the toughest guys on the planet.
He didn't call him a bitch. He just said what he did was weird.
Well, he lost a bit of respect for him. So...
Yeah, he said, I used to like him. I don't like him that much anymore.
That's
disappointed.
How society has... I mean, for the longest time, that's what it means to be a man. You're not allowed to show emotion. You have to be strong. You have to be tough. Not allowed to cry. You know, big boys don't cry. All that sort of stuff. Whereas...
Yeah, like they were saying, like, you're the world champion, you're this, you're that. And I'm like, dude, that's irrelevant. Like, this is childhood trauma. Like,
yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, if he felt that way, like, you got to...
But anything can be traumatizing to a person. It doesn't have to be something that bad. It can be...
No, you can run into a butterfly and freak.
That's right. Whatever your trauma is, it's yours. Like, you feel that way for whatever reason.
But dude, I'm telling you, if you watch this clip, should I bring it up? Nah, it's full on. It's like you got to watch the whole podcast because then you get context. If you just watch the 3 minutes, you won't understand it. But yeah, when you see this guy, and I've watched this guy fight for years, so I've always seen his character, and I've never seen him like this. And I was like, fuck, you must be like that. Must be you have some unresolved, like that must have been your.
So there's
stuff there you're not saying,
but there's proof in the pudding as well. So he's just brought this up now. This has just affected him now as an adult. So he's obviously bottled all those things up as well.
Yeah, I think he's always.
But why? Because I'm a man. I'm a fighter. I'm this. I'm that. I can't be shown to be vulnerable or weak or anything like that. So he himself has probably bottled that up. Do you know what I mean? So as much as your mate has just said, "What a little bitch. He shouldn't have done that. Like, I've lost respect." He's kind of been doing that on the same token. He's kind of been doing that the same. If it's affected him that much, where he's gone on a podcast and cried about it, and it's all those range of emotions that have now come up because he hasn't resolved them. So he's probably part of that problem to a degree as well.
Yeah, but see, okay, this is where the dilemma is with me. I think that sometimes as a man, you need to be able to do what you need to do.
Yeah.
Regardless of how you feel.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Yeah, like you
tired, keep going.
No one gives a fuck.
That's right.
No one cares. No one cares. That's just the truth. No one cares. Yeah. Well, you need to be able to keep going.
The value, a man's value is judged by the things that he does. Only women, children, and dogs are loved unconditionally.
Yeah.
You heard that before? Yeah. So a man is only valuable if he does something, if he contributes, if he provides something.
Yeah, but I agree with that.
Yeah.
Men are disposable.
Yeah, correct.
But rightly so. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Like, I think that, like, if you're having this conversation, we should get a female on for this conversation. But if you're having this conversation with a female and she says that her man has completely turned into a flop, like, I only blame her in the fact that she's still there. Like, why are you still there? Leave.
When you say flop, what do you mean by that? Sorry.
Like, he's turned into a complete dud. Like, complete...
Oh, okay, like not driven, given up.
Like, no, like just flopping, can't do anything, not making any money, not helping out around the house, not doing nothing.
Yeah,
like, not for like a month.
Yeah.
For like a decade. Do you know what I mean? Like, if it's just a complete no value, bringing nothing to the table. So if you like this clip and you want to watch another one, click just over here. Or if you want to watch the full episode, you can click over here. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and thanks for watching.